I thought it was a stretch to use defense. It's very easy when I have. I've had John Ferraiolo as the CEO of Nucor on a number of times, and previous to Dan D'Amico, and it's very clear. It's one for one. You have to have a steel industry unless you want to import steel from China to make your tanks. None of us would like our children in those tanks or be in the tanks themselves. But this is a tougher one. I mean, it is true that this first quarter showed dramatic acceleration in the number of cars imported. I mean, it was rather incredible. Japan is up very big. Germany's down, but that doesn't include Mexico. And I think that what the president is reacting to is the fact that he managed to get Ford to not build his plant in Mexico, but BMW and Mercedes, right in the president's face, built these gigantic plants in Mexico. Really just some of the biggest plants in the world. And even though they do build plants in the U.S., they got had. The president got had.
Weren't they building those plants already?
No.
I mean, doesn't it take years to build a plant?
No.
So they actually built them in the time?
Yes, because one's not done, the other's just coming online.
Okay, just wanted to...
No, because I got it.
I thought it could take years to build one of those plants. So, you're going to stop and then cost yourself an enormous amount of money?
They had them you can build a plant in 2 years.
Okay, but he hasn't been president in 2 years.
Well, but if you take, no, I'm saying they're coming online this year. So if you take a look when Ford, if you go to the date that Ford canceled, you're going to see that Mercedes and BMW did not cancel. And that was rather remarkable. And the president didn't point it out. He should have if he really wanted to make his case. But I don't think that it's really that's like, if we were a weaker nation, then well, therefore we're going to lose a war. I mean, if we're a weaker nation, it's going to be through intellectual property, not through autos. Stolen intellectual property could make us a weaker nation.
There's also the additional dynamic of U.S. automakers producing cars in China to import them back here.
Right, that's General Motors.
Right.
I mean, look, I was surprised that he didn't do it a little more bilaterally. I mean, South Korea is just terrible. It's outrageous. But we have a policy in this country, and always had a policy since 1953, of favoring South Korea as a country in order to build up trade, in order to make it so that they're a bulwark against North Korea. So you'd have to undo that particular policy, which has always led to horrible trade deals with our country.
As an investor trying to make sense of all of this, with each given day, there seems to be something else on the trade front that sort of pulls you one way or the other. Whether it's this potential for tariffs, whether it is the steel and aluminum tariffs that are in place, whether it's NAFTA potentially not going to happen in terms of a renegotiation that is successful, or whether it's the big picture with China and where we are as ET. What am I supposed to make of it all as an investor? And you seem to be positive personally on these tariffs, but I'm not talking about your personal opinion. I mean larger from
Okay, so twofold. One is, yes, you would buy GM and Ford because if you decided to raise the tariffs very big, particularly on Germany, Japan, South Korea, it would raise the price of autos. It would put a lot of pressure on the Fed because the Fed is still saying the pressures are temporary. This would obviously not be temporary. And then the other thing it would do is, we would just have no relations with these countries. These countries are based on them flooding cars.
Yeah, Daimler gets a quarter of its revenue from the U.S.
So you want to short those markets and go long ours?
98% of our imports on passenger cars come from 5 allies, really: Mexico, Canada, Japan, EU, and South Korea. Almost all of it.
Yeah, so you really I'm not saying you destroy their economies, but you would make it so that they'd go into recession.
At what point do they start to fight back in a cohesive manner?
They screw us all the time. We wouldn't get much sales.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.